Now let's move to the next question. Center to formally scrap FMR with Myanmar. Okay. First of all, you see the border which we are sharing with Myanmar, which is more than 1600 kilometers. So see, Arunachal Pradesh is there. Okay, Arunachal Pradesh is there, your Nagaland is there, Mizoram is there, and Manipur is there. Recently, the major problem which is coming is from Manipur, because I gave you that example that the Kuki tribes, if you go to the history of Kuki tribes, they were brought from Myanmar only. So lot of their relatives or their ancestors or their extended family stays in Myanmar. But because of this FMR, this particular scheme, the free movement regime, the problem which is happening is that the population dynamics of Manipur is changing, because lot of this population is coming in Manipur. They say that we are coming for 10 days or 20 days or 7 days, but they're staying in Manipur. And there's a recent surge, or rather not a recent, but in the last 4 or 5 decades, if you see, the surge in the population of Manipur of Kukis has increased like anything compared to Metis. And then there is a standard problem which is happening with Kukis and Metis in terms of the ST status, in terms of religion, misinformation warfare, the population issues. That I will not go into, because I have discussed that a lot in the previous Decode session, which you already know. But what the major problem is that when this is coming from Myanmar, to Mizoram or Nagaland, this illegal population which is coming, it is disturbing the socio-economic dynamics of that particular state. For example, I've given you an example earlier also. For example, if a state has 100 kgs of wheat and there are 100 people, everyone is getting 1 kg of wheat. But suddenly, out of this 100, now 10,000 people from Myanmar enters. Okay, so now it's 10,000 and 100. Now, but the source or the atta and the wheat remains same in that state. It's 100 kg only. Now 10,100 people are dependent on that 100 kg of wheat. This is the major problem. So resources are limited. Second major problem which comes is that when this illegal population comes, they will change the political dynamics of the state also, because they will start choosing the people they want. This is a problem which we have seen in Assam also, in which the people speaking Assamese have decreased and people speaking Bengalis have increased. This, I think we have discussed this in editorial also. An editorial had come which was criticizing the decision of Supreme Court related to the Citizenship Amendment Act. If you remember, we have done that editorial. It was saying that the cultural ethos of Assam is changing. Similar can be the problem here. Then there is a one major problem which comes under the FMR, that if you take Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, all this, or Cambodia, this region, they also have something called Golden Triangle. Now, this Golden Triangle is the epicenter in Southeast Asia regarding your drugs, opium, and illegal weapons. And from this Myanmar, they enter here. Next important problem which is happening in Myanmar is that military junta is fighting against rebels. And rebels have taken more than 50% area of Myanmar. Because of this current situation in Myanmar, which is going through a turmoil, that the Myanmar rebels are fighting against the military junta, this situation increases the complexity of Myanmar, and whenever this situation happens, the general population of Myanmar, they will start shifting towards the northeast, because they want to go to the stable area, because currently a revolt is going on, revolution is going on, killing is going on, genocide also might be happening in Myanmar, because so much of rebellious movement is happening. So rebels are against the military junta is against the rebels, lot of fighting are going on, and the civil population is being harassed, and this population will also start moving to this particular area. When this population start moving to this area, the cultural dynamics is disturbed, political dynamics is disturbed, socio-economic dynamics is disturbed, economic resources are also disturbed. So I hope you understand that why the government wants to take a strict action on this FMR, free movement regime. Okay. So I've given you now with the map, you understand. So what is FMR? All the hill tribes, whether they are the citizens of India or Myanmar, can travel within 16 kilometers on either side of India, Myanmar border. Now 16 kilometers is more than enough. They enter 16 kilometers, but after some time they become invisible. So they can cross the border by producing a border pass with 1 year validity. Even the pass had a validity of 1 year, issued by the competent authority, and can stay up to 2 weeks per visit. FMR was implemented in 2018 as part of the central government Act East policy. So the government had implemented in good faith, that Myanmar is very important from the point of view of Act East policy. It will strengthen the relationship with Northeast and Myanmar. Similar kind of community are staying on the both the side, but nobody thought that this can also create a problem, security issues. So this is creating a big internal security problem there. It aimed to facilitate local border trade, improve access to education and healthcare for border residents and strengthen the diplomatic ties. So that was the intent, the diplomatic ties between the two countries, improve, strengthen the relationship, and the focus on the Act East policy of, for example, the Northeast can be connected through Myanmar, and through Myanmar we can be connected to the ASEAN countries, and overall trade and prosperity will come to Northeast. That was the intent of the government, but that did not happen. Rather, illegal migrants have come, migrants have entered the Northeast. So free movement regime enabling free movement for residents within 16 km of India-Myanmar border is yet to be formally scrapped. MHA has already told that this needs to go. We are formally waiting for the External Affairs Minister to put the words. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has introduced stricter regulation, the ministry has introduced stricter regulation reducing the free movement regime from 16 kilometers to 10 kilometers. Formal notification ending FMR by the External Affairs Ministry is pending, despite earlier verbal announcements had been done, but we are still waiting for the official announcement from the MEA, that is Ministry of External Affairs. I think with what is happening in Bangladesh, it might come very soon also. Okay, so backdrop and the context is Home Minister announced suspension of the FMR to safeguard the internal security and demographic structure of the northeastern states. Now, certain states have also said that they are not ready to accept this viewpoint of the government and they are against it. So, Nagaland and Mizoram have gone against it. They might be having some ulterior motives or agendas which we might know, or they might be having some good agendas on the point of view of culture, but currently it's a big internal security problem. What is happening with cookies and metis, and the government is doing absolutely a right decision. So, Manipur governor's order cited recommendation from the Home Ministry for scrapping FMR awaiting MEA's final order. It from the point of view of internal security, from the point of view of what is happening in Myanmar, the military junta versus rebel, it becomes paramount and important that this step is taken ASAP, that is as soon as possible. Otherwise, the complexities and the dynamics and an internal security problem in Manipur will increase like anything. The problem in Manipur started in May 2023 and we are still trying to find a resolution. More than 50,000, 60,000 troops are already there, but we still have not been able to find a solution to the entire Manipur problem. And again, the Methi Zoo community is fighting with the Methi communities. Influx of weapons is happening, influx of poppy is happening, influx of drugs is happening. So it's a complex problem. So in this context, it has become very important we stop at least this FMR scheme, at least for momentarily. Later we can think about when the relationship improves and Myanmar gets a stabilized government and India is having a good relationship, then we can think about restarting it. But right now it is a very important decision to stop it, to curtail this internal security problem which might increase like anything. Okay, so in this context, Nagaland and Mizoram are opposing it. Support from scrapping FMR, obviously Manipur CM N. Biren Singh, he has been constantly telling that the drugs are coming and there is a invisible hand behind it. If you remember yesterday's article which we were doing, so Manipur's retired High Court's Chief Justice of Manipur High Court, he was also saying that there seems to be an invisible hand behind this entire Manipur crisis. When things are trying to get stabilized, suddenly it starts again, the violence erupts. So that is why. So if you have a porous border, that invisible hand can come. And if Myanmar is not doing it, maybe China is asking them to do it, or some other country. So it is important that you put a strict line on the border so that this invisible hand is not able to enter in terms of drugs, in terms of money, or in terms of inciting violence, or in terms of giving weapons. This needs to be stopped as soon as possible. So established, when you talk about the significance of FMR, we've already done. The FMR started in 1968. The current scheme which came in 2018 is based on this 1968 only. Okay, so its initial free movement was around 40 kilometers. Then it was reduced to 16 kilometers in 2004. Additional regulation were imposed in 2016 to address the security concerns. Now, new protocols have also been introduced till the Ministry of External Affairs comes with their protocol and guidelines and what they say. So cross-border regulations would be there. The passes would be issued for Assam Rifles now From earlier it was 40 to 16 days and 16 days. Now it has come to 7 days. It should be, these passes would be issued by Assam Rifle for 7 days stay in Myanmar, includes a QR code, photograph, biometric details. So technology and everything would be used to see who is coming inside the Indian border, who is going, so that this illegal migration does not happen. And most importantly, everything would be thoroughly checked also. And if there is any violation, legal actions would be taken. So there would be infrastructure and points of access, 43 entry exit points to be functional in phases. First it will start with 8, then 14, then 21, from which people can come from from Myanmar to India or India to Myanmar. And if the Ministry of External Affairs takes a stringent action on this, then things would be even harder. Okay. So implication for stakeholders, border residents, tighter movement, so disruption of the traditional ties, but more important right now is security rather than the traditional ties. They can again start in 6 months. 6 state governments, mixed response based on ethnic, political and security priorities. Mostly Nagas and people from, or the Mizoram government is against it. They might be having their own agendas regarding it. Security forces, Assam Rifles to play a critical role. Northeast region aim to control the unregulated migration, preventing demographic shifts. So this is what is stated, that migration and preventing demographic shifts. The major problem is the internal security problem, because many of the insurgent and militant groups which are working in Myanmar, they also try to use this particular FMR regime and try to enter India and create havoc in our states. Okay, so this is the UPSC question. Discuss the implication of tightening regulation under the free movement regime on India's border security and socio-cultural dynamics along the India-Myanmar border. I think when I started lecture, also I spoke about FMR. I am sure that I told you only this free movement regime.